Good morning, Stampers. I'm Meg from LovenStamps, and this is another Maker Morning with Meg. And I have to tell you, I felt a little off yesterday for not having stamped with you guys first thing in the morning. So I'm glad to be back today. Today's Tuesday. It's the only day I'm gonna have a live video this week, but as you know, there are like many hundred videos that I have in my library that you guys can check out if you're bereft of ideas. But last week I had a really great question. Hey, Carol and Sandy. The question was, how do you get started when you sit down to make a card? So I thought, I kind of explained a little bit when I talked about it on Friday, but I thought today we're just gonna go ahead and walk through that process together. So today is reality crafting, which I love because it means I really don't know what our card is gonna be at the end. We're gonna kind of walk through the process together and figure out what things we wanna add and how we wanna stick it all together. And actually, yeah, Sandy's right. I shouldn't say first thing in the morning because it's 9:30 here in Central Illinois and you 7:30 a.m. people in California with hope you have your coffee ready, and Oregon and Washington and so forth. All right, so the stamp set we're gonna use today, okay, and before I forget to tell you, let me say right away, tomorrow, Wednesday the 17th, is a double bonus, one from me and one from Stampin' Up. The one from Stampin' Up is gonna be free shipping on Wednesday, March 17th only, okay? So one day free shipping. And the second one for me is don't forget to look for the pot of gold that I'm leaving in comments on a video tomorrow. I'll remember to talk about that more, but okay. But then let's get back to reality crafting because we are going to use the Sweet Ice Cream stamp set and the fabulous ice cream cone builder punch. And I know that this has been unorderable for a long time. It is back on orderable status. It is back ordered as of today, but it's supposed to be back in stock next week. So if this has been on your list, this fun suite with the ice cream paper, I would say go for it because you should have it in pretty short order. So, morning, Marcy. Hi, Kathy. All right. So reality crafting for today. How do I get started? I often start with a vague layout idea in my head, just to kind of, or a vague stamp set or a vague something in my head. So I knew we were starting with this. So I knew I have a stamp set in mind, which has a punch, which is kind of a focal point or makes a great focal point. And then I thought, okay, we're gonna combine it with a layout, and I'm gonna show you this little card that I made on Friday evening as part of one of our demonstrator Stampin' Share events. Kind of cute here with that, the well-suited suite. And I think we're gonna go with this kind of idea. So we have a stamp set, we have kind of a layout, we have some lines and then a circle focal point. And then I was thinking, well, I wanna use my designer series paper, I wanna use more of it because it's so pretty. So then I looked at this card, which is one of the Butterfly Brilliance cards from the LovenStamps March tutorial feature that you get as a PDF when you place an order with me in March. And I wanted to do a DSP, faux DSP card base because it lets me see both sides of the designer series paper. So still have sort of that circle focal point. So now we have a stamp set, we have a card layout that we're kind of gonna base on, and we'll get ready to get stamping. So I'm gonna flip you guys down here so that you can see kind of what I gather as my basic supplies when I first get started. Because sometimes, I mean, of course I could grab more things as I go. I'm not unable to go get more, but I like to be able to sit down and do some stamping without always every single thing I have to get up to get more. So what do I have on hand here? I have some blocks that are about the right size for my stamp set. I have the coordinating ribbon and sprinkles that I am likely to want to use with this project. I have some ink colors selected. I'm not sure if we'll use all of these, but kind of some choices. And where did I find those choices? They are on the back of the designer series paper right here. So you can always get those. And then of course I'm gonna need some cardstock. And if you watched my cardstock videos before or my cardstock organization videos from the beginning, you might remember that I usually use a magazine file folder and I put my open packs in there. But I happen to have a handy paper share from when I did the paper shares in the catalog. So I have DSP and coordinating cardstock all together. So we're starting to talk about the next catalog on the demonstrator side of things. So watch for more paper shares from me when that happens. All right, so if this is my card layout, I'm gonna have, let's see, a piece of white on the inside, a background, and then I need this piece of designer series paper here. Now I could use this and we could make our card layout go sideways, but I think I'm gonna use this because it's a little bit more neutral, and I want our focal point to stand out. So this one I like, and then to go with it, let's see, do I want the darker or the lighter? I'm gonna go with the lighter, I think, or the really light. Ooh. Now this is kind of pretty with the pastel color. I kind of like that even better. These feel like they compete. This one is very nice. So, all right, so now I'm gonna cut this down. And so this is a half sheet of cardstock that I happen to have right here, but I'm going to cut it down to 4 1/4 inches wide, which is what I need for this layout. So I'm going to pop that there. And then this, I need to score, and I'm gonna score the top of it. Let's see, of course I could look at my directions, but it looks like 5 1/4 is where I'm gonna score there. So 5 1/4, and get my cutting blade out of the way and use my scoring blade to score that. Okay, so now we have our basic pieces cut. So when I make a card, I often like to kind of gather my pieces before I get too far. So this is gonna be 4 inches wide, or maybe a sliver smaller, and 5 1/4 inches tall, or maybe a sliver smaller. So we have this, which is gonna go on the inside of our card. Okay, and that gives us sort of a base. We're gonna want a piece of paper that kind of goes across there. I wonder, let's look at our DSPs here and find one that looks like a good coordinating element. Oh, this one, I think. Clearly, we're gonna need to bring in an ice cream cone here. So I'm just gonna trim myself, I don't know, half an inch here. Let's make it an inch. We'll make it the bottom part of our card. So, because I think this card actually has sort of a bottom. So I can either move it up here a little way from the bottom, or I can put it flat against the bottom. I think I'm gonna move it here because that kind of almost adds an extra element to it. All right, so now we have some basic figured out here. We're gonna need a square and a circle, but I think that we should next, because I don't exactly know which size I want for that, I want to come back with my punch and sort of put some of these things together. So I think I'm pretty safe. I'm gonna go ahead and, oops. I'm gonna go ahead, oh, that's empty. That's why it's not forwarding. Okay, I can change it later. You guys don't have to see that. And so I'm gonna go ahead and attach our strip here. All right. There we go. Okay, and then I'm probably pretty safe to go ahead and attach this. And I'm gonna use a piece of tear tape because I don't want my card layers to come apart. So I'm gonna put my tear tape on here, just shy of the score line, and pop this here. Now when you're sort of reality crafting, when you're making a card from scratch, it's nice to have supplies at hand, so you don't have to keep getting up and looking for them. And that's where I really like having my adhesives in a basket or in my drawer right next to me. Okay, so they're super convenient. Okay, so now we have our card base kind of started, and we're gonna stamp a layer that's gonna go on the inside. And what kind of card should I make? Now, honestly, usually I come up with the kind of card. If I'm making a card for an occasion, I would know what the occasion is before anything else. So, birthday, treat yourself, you melt my heart, thank you, with sprinkles on top. I think we clearly need to use with sprinkles on top. So happy birthday with sprinkles on top, you're so cool. Let's see, for this card layout, I need kind of a small greeting. So maybe you're so cool with sprinkles on top. Treat yourself with sprinkles on top. Oh, this is kind of a nice one, actually. Okay, so I feel like I'm gonna be able to get my ice cream cone here, and you melt my heart is actually the exact shape I'm looking for, but I think I'm gonna do a banner one. And you know what, maybe, yeah, let's do treat yourself. So I'm gonna put that on the side here. Okay, so that's kind of how I walk through it. I kind of sketch out in my head a little bit about how it's gonna go. And then we're going to add some cards here. So we're definitely going to use our ice cream. So I'm going to pop that on a block. And we're definitely going to use our ice cream cone because it is so cute. So I'm going to need both of these images. There's a little, there we go. And then I need, let's see, what did I say? Treat yourself. And so I'll pop this on a block too. Now I'm starting to realize I didn't get out the right block sizes. So let's see, we'll swap these out. You really don't want a block that's too large for your stamp, because you'll end up with, it's too easy to catch an edge as the stamp block rolls. So let's see, I'll grab a little one here. And clearly we're gonna need a sprinkle stamp, right? Because we said we're putting sprinkles on top on our card. Okay, so now I am going to go ahead and set this aside and grab some basic white cardstock, which is here. And I'm gonna start stamping some elements. So let's see, we'll need our cone first. So let's see. I think on this one, I might see if I go ahead and stamp, well, let's see what happens if we punch first. Usually I stamp first, but let's see what happens if I punch first. So I'm gonna take my cinnamon cider, and I think I want the lightest part of my image to be a little lighter than the full strength. So I'm gonna stamp off once and then stamp on my paper, pretty good. And then I'm gonna take my little cone design, and I'm gonna stamp that full strength so that I get a really nice strong line there. Okay, so we have our thing there. And then I'm going to make some ice cream. And since our card is tall, I have lots of space. And I think actually I'm gonna go ahead and stamp several ice creams. So there's one, and then maybe I'll do a second one in Bermuda Bay here, which is darker color, so I'm not gonna worry too much about cleaning my stamp before. And this stamp, so I didn't actually, oops, it'll work better on this side. I didn't actually have a blurb in the middle of my inking. This one is how this is made. It's got that nice color variation to it, which matches our designer series paper so much. So, all right, so I'll flip that over. Oops, my punch locked when I went down there. Okay, and I dropped my ice cream. There you go. Okay, that's it. Dropping your ice cream is never a good thing, right? Okay, so now we're gonna take this. I think the light one has to be on top, and we're gonna need our greeting. So let's do our greeting in, I got out that Blackberry Bliss, but I feel like it's too strong. So let's do our greeting in Bermuda Bay, and we'll stamp here on this strip of paper, and maybe do like a banner piece. So what if we do a straight banner and cut this? This is a tricky size image to do a banner because it's got so much up and down to it, but let's see. Okay. Like the script is like way up and below the line. Okay, so there's that. And now, just like our sample card, I really think that it needs something more here to kind of anchor our main image. So a circle is always great. A circle of cardstock, a circle of vellum if you want your background to show through, like we've done before. Actually, you know what? We're gonna do, I think we're gonna do a cool technique. We're gonna make colored vellum. So I'm gonna grab some vellum, which I didn't get before, and I'm gonna use my stitch shape dies. And we're going to make our own custom vellum color. So the trick with this is that it just takes a little bit of time for the ink to dry. So you want to be a little bit patient with it as you're getting going. So I'm going to take my paper here, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it first because that'll give us the least dry time required. So I'm going to grab my little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and my stitch circles. I've said before, these are my favorite. So as you're thinking about the free shipping special today, and if they're what things you might want. I think it's a $50 minimum order. So you're going to want to pick out some cool supplies to catch up on, to stock up. And Vellum is always a good one. And then the stitch shapes dies, I've said before, are my go-to all-purpose, use it pretty much every day dies, okay? So I have my Vellum now and my stitch shape, which I'll put away or over here. And here is going to be our messy part. I'm gonna go ahead and do a direct to paper kind of technique. I'm gonna just use a clear black and color this. Now this is gonna end up kind of on the dark and inky side. So what I'm gonna do is come back and blot it a little bit. Okay, but it gives us a really cool effect there, right? Which matches our background really well. Maybe I won't blot it. Maybe I'll just leave it to dry for a couple seconds. Okay, so actually while I leave that to dry, oh, I love the way that turned out. Can you guys see that okay? Here's the close-up version of it. Just really nice texture. So definitely wet. So while that's drying, I'm gonna come back in here with my inside layer because we're gonna need this. And I'm going to, I think, add an ice cream cone on this, don't you think? So what you want to do here, if you want to stamp the ice cream cone on the inside, the bottom of the stamp and the ice cream cone itself don't really line up. They're different shapes. So it is smart to make yourself a mask. So I'm going to grab my cardstock here and just punch myself an extra ice cream cone so that when I go ahead and stamp on the inside, and let's see, I'll use my lighter here. So I know I used Bermuda Bay last on this, which means I definitely want to clean that off and have it be, there we go, nice and clean. So I'm gonna use my lighter ice cream here. I'm gonna swap up the side, and then I'm gonna add my cinnamon. Now, to get my ice cream cone on there without overlapping the bottom, I'm gonna take my white cardstock and I'm gonna slide it up just a teeny bit because there's gonna be an overlap. Now, if you're using a Post-it note, you're honestly better off because you won't get as much of the line in between. See, I got just a little line there, but cardstock's handy, so. All right, I'm gonna put this back on here because I want to add the little lines for my ice cream cone. There we go. So now I have an ice cream that goes on the inside of my card too. Okay, I don't know if this is dry. Let's flip it over and mush it onto our cardstock. I suspect it's not. Nope, but getting closer. We'll get it again here. Deborah says the ice cream is so tempting this morning. I know. Ice cream for breakfast, it's dairy, right? It's pretty much like having milk with your coffee. Okay, so this looks pretty good to me now, so I'm gonna try not to handle it too much, but I'm gonna pop it on here. And I love that. So now we have a nice coordinating and very soft watercolory looking mask to go behind. So I'm going to assemble my cones here. And I know that we are gonna put the sprinkles on top idea on the inside, so we're gonna have sprinkles, but I think we're gonna put real sprinkles instead of just stamped sprinkles. Actually, we better stamp the sprinkles on the inside. All right, here's the trick for you with the ice cream cones. I'm lining them up on the back side where I want them to go, and then I'm just going to put a dimensional at each transition so that we have we have a dimensional kind of holding each piece together. So now I don't have to work so hard to get them to stay where I want them or press down in the right spot or whatnot. Okay, and then I think the way our vellum ended up, there's kind of a vertical line here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this on here like that. And if it's still wet, it might have a trouble grabbing on, but it seems to be okay. All right. And then this is going to go on our card. Now, if I stick it down, I could do that, but it's gonna melt into the background a little more. Ha, get it? See what I did there? Melts. Ha. Okay, anyway, sorry. I know you guys are gonna miss me tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is our treasure hunt day though. So if you are looking back at some of the videos here, the LovenStamps Maker Morning with Meg videos, I am going to leave a pot of treasure in honor of our St. Patrick's Day celebrations. So it'll be a little pot of treasure comment. I'm gonna leave it as a comment on one of the videos, and the first person to find it gets a prize. a fabulous stamping prize. So leave a comment underneath that says I found it, and then it'll be really easy to see who gets it first. And I'll leave one both here on Facebook if you're watching live, and one on a comment on YouTube. So, all right. So I think that this needs to go down here now because we have our horizontal line down here. If I bring it up here, we're gonna end up with like lines marching up our card. So I kind of like this down here. So I'm gonna pop a dimensional on here. And there is our greeting, okay? And then we need some embellishments. So we are gonna add these fabulous little actual sprinkles. And I need desperately my take your pick tool. Another great thing to add to your order if you are taking advantage of free shipping tomorrow. And oh my, I have so much of the stuff at the end. I usually just use my fingernails and pinch it. I like my gluey end tip to be about that much glue. And I'm going to go ahead and instead of trying to apply glue to the sprinkles, I'm going to apply glue here. I always keep my multi-purpose liquid glue pointed this direction, usually in a little cup. This one's from Cannes, where we were fortunate enough to go thanks to Stampin' Up! In the French Riviera. And that way you can have a fun memory of a place you've been and also keep your glue ready to go. So we're gonna have lots of sprinkles here. All right, so I'm just gonna start picking them up, and I think maybe we'll go with all colors. So I usually use my take your pick tool to pick up the little tiny item, and then I use my fingernail for my other hand, or you could use the tip of your paper snips to get it to stick down to the glue. So, all right, and I'm just kind of doing colors in order here. We need another blue. We need, I suppose I could have limited myself to just certain colors. I think a yellow should go over here. And I'm still missing a pink, so put one more pink on. Actually, I kind of like the fun colors. You know what? I feel like it needs more on top. This is like reality crafting, right? Okay, so I'm gonna add a couple more at the top. We'll just add a couple at a time and see how it goes. Let's see, so this one has to be yellow. Because that's how it works, right? You dump your sprinkles on and you get a ton at the top and then a little bit less as you go down. And I guess this one has to be pink. I don't know, what do you guys think? More sprinkles. Let's see, it needs at the very top. There we go. All right, so let's see, this one has to be blue. I think they both have to be blue. Oops. With the multi-purpose liquid glue, I always say if you can see the glue, it's enough. Okay, there we go, because that's how it works, right? The sprinkles are like densest at the top and then they sprinkle down as you go. So I kind of like that. I think it's pretty cute. I think I might have to add my go-to, which is always handy, and that's my Artistry Blooms sequins. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop these on here. So these won't be in the linked supply list, because the supply list links the ice cream bundle stuff. So if you're looking for the supplies, they're linked in the description. So I'm gonna pop a couple of sequins on here to go with this, and there we go. I think it needs one more up here. Okay, and then we need one more at the bottom to balance it out. There we go. Okay, so now we have our sequiny, sprinkly card, and then we didn't finish our insides yet, so let's get the inside finished. And here I said clearly we need some sprinkles to go on the inside, right? So since I won't see you guys the rest of this week for live videos, I hope that you will be stamping, and you are, I need the sprinkles on top, greeting too. You are welcome to participate in the Spring into Stamping Challenge if you want to, that I issued. And that is basically on those mornings that you're not watching me, go ahead and log on anyway and check out one of the past videos. Look for something maybe you haven't seen before, or something that you saw on a busy day and you didn't get a chance to try. There we go. And go ahead and try it out. And then while you're looking for those past videos, make sure you look for that pot of treasure tomorrow. Okay, so now we have with sprinkles on top. So treat yourself with sprinkles on top is always, I think that's a pretty fun occasion card. Not very limited. Could be birthday, could be anything. You could put a gift certificate in here. Starbucks or something like that even would be fun. So I'm gonna go ahead and layer this here, make sure I don't squish on top of my stamping, and then close this baby up. Got it a little higher than I wanted. That's okay. We'll just expand our crease. All right. So there is our reality crafting. So you can see kind of how that works to just come up with sort of the basics to start with. So I started off knowing that I wanted to do something with the sweet ice cream stamp set. I knew I wanted to do something that was kind of like this with a DSP, faux DSP card base. And so here is kind of what we came up with here with our ice cream sprinkle set. And again, if you missed what I said earlier, the punch for this, the ice cream builder punch, is still listed on back order, but it's scheduled to be in the warehouse next week when I'm back. So I would feel pretty good about going ahead and ordering that and getting on the back order list. And then we learned a cool trick about coloring our vellum today. So there's sort of that fun colored vellum background. So, all right. So things that you guys should know: free shipping is tomorrow. Once your cart total reaches $50, then you get free shipping. $50 is also the amount that you would want to order when you're placing your order with me, because you will get the supplies for 2 card kits in the mail, this one and this one. So all of the pieces pre-cut and ready to go with the designer paper and everything. You just need to add your stamps and ink for these. And if you go to LovenStamps.com and look at card kits to go under the clubs, then you'll find the details about what things you would want to add for these. So you get those card kits with $50. If you didn't need $50 worth of stuff, you just had some other things that some smaller shopping list that you wanted to order, you do get the tutorials for merch. Any size order gets those from me. So Kathy says, may the luck of the Irish be with you. And it's the same to you, Kathy. So watch for that pot of gold tomorrow. Some lucky leprechaun finder will get a stamping prize from me. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful spring break week, and I will very much look forward to seeing your projects. So if you have cards that you're making, the Spring Into Stamping Challenge, your cards you're making and sending to people and sharing, you are welcome to post pictures of them. You can post them in the comments on one of these videos. You can post them over in the LovenStamps Create and Share community, Create and Connect community, wherever you like to, or honestly just share them and know that you shared a little bit of stamping creativity with somebody. So happy St. Patrick's Day, Kelly. All right, guys, have a good one, and treat yourself with sprinkles on top.